One of the most renowned examples of modernist artists is Pablo Picasso. Although he dabbled in many different forms of art, he was most known for his painted works. In fact, this Spanish painter is credited with starting the modernist art movement called Cubism. Along with his hallmark invention of the modernist Cubism movement, Picasso's work formed the perfect archetype of several other modernist motifs, such as fragmentation, avant-garde art, representing reality from the artist's perspective, and a reaction to the absurdity of war. As you can see in this painting of his called The Weeping Woman, Cubism mainly consisted of art that represented scenes with strange, layered, three-dimensional geometric shapes. Cubism goes along with that modernist motif of fragmentation. This style played with light and color schemes to give paintings a multi-dimensional look from several perspectives. Picasso's work was categorized as modernist avant-garde art because it sought to create something new with its novel perspective that strayed from the strictly linear perspective of previous periods. Looking at another of his works, Three Musicians, you can see that the objects seem to be popping off the canvas from several different dimensions. If you look closely, you can see that what almost looks like your ordinary run-of-the-mill desk setup, upon first glance, actually forms a silhouette of three people playing instruments. It kind of goes with the idea of representing reality from the individual subjective view of the artist. Picasso's movement also came with a purpose. Mainly, the movement was created as a reaction to the fast-paced changes of industrial life. The modernist era was largely inspired by World War I and World War II, and so was Picasso's work. His rendering of a bombing by Italy and Germany in the Spanish Civil War, named Guernica after the city of the tragedy, is a classic representation of the atrocities of war. It depicts pure chaos and death, and contains many hidden symbols to represent Picasso's personal perspective. For example, the bull is meant to represent both a hero and a victim. The position of the wounded horse and the bull are meant to echo the sacrificial significance of bullfighting within Spanish culture. The painting also captures humanity's absurd and unnecessary suffering with the several screaming women, fires, and fallen soldier. To top it off, the light bulb at the top of the painting, which also resembles an eye, is often seen as the vengeful eye of God, overseeing the destruction we bring upon ourselves. It also is meant to warn of the dangers of misused technology. This once again reinforces the role of the artist's perspective within the painting through symbolism, which once again demonstrates the modernist influence.
Another painting by Picasso that many historians have marked as the true start of Cubism is La Demoiselle d'Avignon. As Cassie mentioned in previous paintings, Picasso totally disregards the use of linear perspective and instead portrays the woman in a view reminiscent of a visual stream of consciousness that many authors also adopted during the modernist period. The distorted figures of the women is also Picasso's way of presenting reality through an individual point of view, which was also a hallmark of modernism. As for the meaning in the painting, even the portrayal of women in a brothel was a very non-religious and culturally open and forward thing to do, relating to the world of unfamiliarity that modernist authors and artists like to depict. Such blatant ideas about female sexuality and in portraying the female nude can also be seen as a shift away from the Victorian influences referred to in the lecture, and instead a shift towards finding a world without God, and perhaps even exploring sexuality, like what Picasso said. And finally, the harsher lines in the painting overall is also a reflection of the fragmentation prevalent in modernism. And obviously, this painting as a whole is an entire break from what had been accepted in Western art and culture before.